So Ricky Starks just got a name change. I might have a controversial take on that. The Hardy Boyz are returning to WWE. People being in your late 40s and still being called the Boys is absolute goals. New WWE belts, possible new Judgment Day member, plus Raw and SmackDown highlights. Welcome back to Greatness of Wrestling. How are you guys doing today? Make sure to like, subscribe if you already didn't. Now, the biggest talking point right now in professional wrestling is Ricky Starks changing his name. If you didn't hear it already, it's a very simple change. Richard Stanitsky. I think it's a cool name. I think it fits him very well. Okay, so in NXT, he cut a decent promo, signed the contract, and WWE did it very safe. They didn't call him by his new name. We just saw it on the contract. It said Ricky Saints. And look, people, a controversy is about to happen on this channel, but don't you dare click that dislike button. I think it's a very good name. As a matter of fact, people, I think it sounds even better. Ricky Saints. You know, it really reminds me of LA Knight's name change from Eli Drake to LA Knight. I honestly really love this. You know, even the ones we thought we couldn't get used to, like Walter to Gunter, eventually you get used to these. I know a lot of people didn't even like Eli Drake being called LA Knight, but you get used to that. In this case, they kept his first name, which is probably the biggest thing they could do, and now he's called Ricky Saints, which I believe sounds even better, even more badass. It gives him a bit more character in my opinion. Now, I did hear that he actually owns the rights to his name, so I'm not sure why WWE didn't want him to keep the name, and maybe it has a little bit to do with me personally, because there's this really shitty alcoholic drink in Lithuania called Starka, but I feel like Ricky Saints gives him a bit more personality. But let me know in the comments below, am I wrong right here? In general, so far, loving this run. Dude already looks like he could be the face of NXT. Out of every name change so far we got in the WWE, this is the least aggressive one. They kept his first name, the first letter of his last name. I think it's just fine, people. You know, sue me. Sue me, see what happens. See what happens, people! Also, the Hardy Boyz are making their WWE return. Yes, the TNA Tag Team Champions are going to be on NXT next Tuesday in a tag team match, which is pretty big. Triple H tweeted about it. I love this TNA partnership already, man. Obviously, the Hardy Boyz are boys we grew up watching when we were boys. I might have told you that already, but when I was a kid, most of my friends had Jeff Hardy as their favorite wrestler. The time Jeff Hardy left the WWE, most of my friends just stopped watching. That's how huge Jeff Hardy was, and might be a controversial take. If he didn't have his personal problems, he would have been the face of the WWE for a pretty substantial time. What I love about this is all the possibilities. People, Dolph Ziggler is in TNA, and he was actually asked about this partnership, and he said, well, I'm very glad this is happening, this is great for TNA, but I just left this company, I don't feel like it would be right for me to come back right away, but probably in the future. And y'all know, Dolph Ziggler is one of my all-time faves, so I'm loving this TNA partnership. You know, AEW partnered with TNA too, but it kind of felt one-sided in my opinion. It felt like AEW was benefiting more from it than TNA, and maybe it's all about the name value. Putting your guys on WWE television, that's obviously gonna be good for you. The Hardy Boyz being in the WWE from NXT is so far, in my opinion, the biggest thing they could have done, but I do hope we're actually going to get something more. NXT is pretty cool lately, but I hope we're going to see the Hardy Boyz on the main roster, even if it's just an appearance, right? People were getting new championships. The top independent wrestling prospects have been ID'd, and now we're ready to spotlight the best of the best. Here's your first look at men's and women's WWE ID championships. Okay, first thing, I'm looking at this picture right here, and it seems like they don't identify this championship and that title as separate championships, because that's not the true evolution of WWE titles. Well, anyway, the ID championships look alright, exactly what you would think they would look. Now, obviously, I'm one of these people who always claim we don't need new titles in the WWE because it's very simple. The more championships you have, the less other titles are valuable. That's a fact, that's not an opinion. Sue me already. We have 2 lawsuits right now. Do you really want to waste your time, people? But I'm trying to tell you, this is not a big deal. You know, honestly, don't like many championships, but this is, like, you're not gonna see Roman Reigns with the ID championship. He's already identified. We know who the tribal chief is. This is for the new guys, something to work for, something to, you know, build their name on. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I can already see a Triple H promo. We need a gum for that. Every time I chew on these things, I feel like I'm Hunter Helmsley. The ID championships proves that you can do what we do. To do what We do. Let's talk about SmackDown and Raw. Didn't make videos for like 5 days, and I don't want to waste your time, but long story short, just lots of panic attacks, didn't sleep right for like, I don't know, a month or two. Just some weak ass shit is happening to ya boy, just some weak ass shit, you know? Kinda changed up my lifestyle, started eating more well, I guess I lost like 3-4 pounds. And you know, finally slept like a teddy bear. Didn't have a heart attack yet, still kicking. Now let's start with SmackDown. Damian Priest versus Cody T. So Damian Priest won the qualifying match in a match where we had Braun Strowman, well, whatever. But we also had Jacob Fatu. Now people, look at this match right here, big match, huge match. One sneak, and it ain't Logan Paul, which is kinda crazy. But this would honestly kill my excitement for WrestleMania, first of all. And I'm like, well, you had Jacob Fatu in that match. Wouldn't it be better to have that monster inside Elimination Chamber? So many potential cool spots. Interactions between Jacob Fatu and John Cena, CM Punk, Logan Paul being scared of Jacob. So much potential. Why Damian? Why Damian? Especially in this case. Jacob could have done so much more for this match. So I feel like that was a really questionable decision. Also, Shinsuke Nakamura is possibly one of the worst United States champions I've ever seen. LA Knight is back in the program. Yes, LA Knight won the #1 contenders match against The Miz, but honestly, I'm not seeing LA Knight getting another push. I think it's over, boys. I think it's honestly over. Now, my hope is, you know, hopefully he's gonna get that championship back. He never should have lost that title to Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, at first I was kind of open. I was like, well, we'll see what happens. But Shinsuke, the thing with Shinsuke Nakamura is that every time they give him a new character, they kind of repackage him. I lose interest so quickly because they just expect us to care without doing shit. I'm hoping LA Knight is going to get that push again, and it seems like he's still over. He got a huge pop on SmackDown, but at the same time, I'm kind of losing hope. Also, Charlotte Flair picked Tiffany Stratton, which was expected. And yes, she's going to be a heel. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a babyface Tiffany Stratton can be at this point. She's still the spoiled brat, you know, and she's actually going to team up with Trish Stratus at Elimination Chamber, which is such a huge match for her. You know, obviously she's in that era that grew up watching, you know, the same people we grew up watching, which, you know, is a weird realization, actually. A lot of these wrestlers right now in the WWE are younger than me. And it feels so weird because wrestling is this thing that I watched as a kid. Like, these people are larger than life. Obviously, they're older than me. No, they're not. As a matter of fact, people, I woke up one day and I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting gray hair. But that's what it takes to do what we do. Now let's jump to Monday Night Raw. They're teasing a new Judgment Day member, and I think everybody has that in mind. Aleister Black. You know, he got released by AEW. The Judgment Day are people who are like, we don't like missionary. Fuck that. No missionary. Only toys. Lots of toys. You know, they have these beds that, you know, have handcuffs. You're handcuffed on top of the bed with your legs up, arms up. They do a lot of nasty shit, man. A lot of nasty shit. Aleister Black looks like that guy too. He really fits in. I really like the idea, but on the other hand, the Judgment Day is so dead right now to me that I feel like I'm not sure if I want Aleister Black to be in that. I want him to be a singles guy, and he probably will. Maybe we could get a cool storyline between Aleister Black and Finn Balor, because Finn Balor does not want any new member. So maybe Aleister Black is going to replace him as the new member. We all know Aleister's faction in AEW was actually pretty similar to the Judgment Day, right? They just weren't doing the nasty as much, in my opinion. That's just speculation. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about that? Gunter promo kinda sold me on Jey Uso versus Gunter. Not fully, but you wouldn't really think of Gunter as a great promo guy, but he's really growing on me. The guy is absolutely hilarious. Ever since that Gunter promo, I believe, I kinda started to like his promos a bit more. And him mimicking Jey Uso, making fun of him, I kinda like that, you know. I hope WWE can keep up with the excitement until WrestleMania. We'll see about that. The only mistake they made so far is giving us this match already. I know it kinda tells a decent story still because Jay couldn't beat him, but now maybe he can. Yet at the same time, you know, doesn't scream WrestleMania main event. Sammy versus Owens is going to be an unsanctioned match. Now, what that mean, Great One? What that mean? Well, back in the day, it used to mean we're not responsible. What happens? Lights out. We're giving you the ring. You can keep watching the match, but this is not our promotion match. This is not our promotion having this match. It doesn't count. That's what these matches mean. So basically, Owens versus Sammy. If you break your leg, you break your leg. None of our business. That's what it takes to do what we do. That's what it basically means. It doesn't count. It's not a WWE match, even though they are advertising it, you know. It's kind of silly, but I really like the idea. You know, it's a great way to tell a story. This guy is injured. He can't wrestle, but this is not our match. We ain't paying any medical bills. Maybe you die, maybe you don't. AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker tease. I'm so confused about WrestleMania. I'm like, okay, AJ versus Logan. Braun versus Sheamus. And now, I don't know. I have no idea. AJ versus Breaker, though, is a really interesting match. A championship match for AJ, which I really appreciate. WrestleMania is also unclear when it comes to this match. So because it's unsanctioned, it gives me hope that maybe we're going to see that match again at WrestleMania, because this is obviously going to end in some shenanigans, you know. It's not gonna be a fair match. Something is gonna happen. But also there's a possibility of Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, which I know many people are very critical of. Now, I like Karrion Kross, but it's not a very good match for Sami, because Karrion Kross is not really established yet, you know? You know what I'm saying? Finally, we got a great main event of Raw. I love this formula of Raw. I did watch every episode. I was just too effed to make reviews. I really enjoyed this formula of having great matches in the main event, great singles matches. So 3 out of 3. We got Logan Paul versus Ray. We got Sammy versus CM Punk. Now we got Rollins versus Finn Balor. Another banger. Rollins advances. Again, the Elimination Chamber match looks really, really cool. It could have looked cooler if it had Jacob. That's just me, though. That's just me. But people, when it comes to WrestleMania, I'm having so many mixed feelings, mixed emotions. I don't know if I should be excited or worried. Maybe it deserves another entire video on that. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, your boy The Great One. Peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.